Welcome to Band in a Box 2009. Countless musicians have used Band in a Box over the years, and countless more have heard about it. But all would be stunned to hear the amazing sounds coming out of Band in a Box today. That's because Band in a Box now uses real tracks and real drums to make music. In the past, all sounds coming out of Band in a Box were generated using MIDI. MIDI really can only sound as good as the synthesizer is played through, and even then, it's impossible to get the subtle nuances that make a real musical performance great, such as variations in tone from note to note, the sound of the hand moving along a guitar fretboard as it shifts position, the infinite articulation variations that can come out of an alto sax. Well, that's why with real tracks, we have recordings of actual musicians which are pieced together by Band in a Box based on the chords you enter. That's what we're listening to right now. Actual performances by real studio musicians pieced together by Band in a Box based on these chords. Here we'll cut to a different song, so you can hear that it sounds just as great when these real tracks styles are played over completely different changes, like the kinds of changes you might enter. Let's solo the drums so you can really hear the subtleties that make these real tracks great. Real tracks and real drums are very different from ordinary drum or audio loops. It's not just the same bar being played over and over. The playing is slightly different from bar to bar because it's chunks of audio taken from a complete drum performance. So Band in a Box may have pieced together this drum part by grabbing a complete 8 bars of playing from one part of the file, spliced with 4 bars from a different part, and so on. I'll add the bass now. And because it's a real bass player, you can hear the little things, like string noises and ghost notes. And now the piano. And we hear the warm sound of a real acoustic piano being played by a pro. And finally, the sax. And we hear all of the subtle squeaks, whistles, and growls that only a real alto can provide. Not to mention that sweet vibrato, which can come in millions of shades. Now let's check out some other real tracks. Here is some great bossa playing. And here is a cool ballad. We always like to remind people what Band in a Box used to sound like. But we won't make you listen to that for long, especially when you could be listening to a marvelously mellow, real trombone. If your tastes lean more towards the rock world, we've got you covered. Here is a light rock groove. There are over 170 Realtrax styles to choose from, which can either be picked in band-in-a-box styles that have them grouped together, or you can pick the individual instruments and styles. If this isn't quite heavy enough for you, check this out. For the blues fans, we've got a whole slew of blues, including this slow swing blues. Here's a list of some of our other blues Realtrax styles. If you're more at home out in the country, have a listen to some of our bluegrass Realtrax instruments. Let's solo the fiddle to have a listen to some of the subtleties. There's no way MIDI could ever touch this. And you'll hear that right now it's playing chops, but when the B section arrives, it switches to a shuffles kind of playing to distinguish this section from the previous one. Let's check out the mandolin solo by itself. You can hear the subtle differences from note to note and string to string. Not to mention the fact that it's a real top-notch session mandolin player playing these riffs. And you can see the notes that are being played displayed here. Here's some of the banjo soloed. And once again, the sweet sound of all these instruments together. If you love the mellow sound of the resonator guitar, have a listen to this. Or the crying pedal steel, like in this slow country ballad. Or some country chicken pickin' soloing. You can check out more Realtrax demos by visiting the individual Realtrax web pages at pgmusic.com, all of which are available for Band in a Box 2009.